All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CONSERVATISH episode 160, I think. And we're being powered by StreamYard. It is my great pleasure to welcome Mark Hughes. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. Make sure you leave a review, rate it, share it with your less offendable friends. And find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. Find me on TikTok at CONSERVATISH. Find me on Patreon at patreon.com/conservatish. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Hughes.
Yeah. Hello.
I was actually going to.
I come from the Rotisrand.
What is an Asian person's? What is it? What is a Chinese person's favorite Coldplay song? Spies.
Spies.
Oh, you didn't. Or you didn't.
No, I don't know the song.
There's a Coldplay song called Yellow.
Oh.
All right. Well, you know what? I just thought of it.
I bet it's a good joke. I bet it's a good joke. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I was like, well, I hate Asians, so fuck it.
Yeah.
Might as well
Yeah,
have fun
good.
with it. How are you, Marker?
I'm okay. I'm good. I had a show last night. Went off pretty good.
Yeah, I saw that they did not show up. The protesters did not show up.
No.
Weren't you threatened?
Yeah, a number of times.
By the same person or multiple?
Same person a couple times, and then others were gonna beat me up. And but there's kind of this with me in Vancouver. There's a cloud of they're gonna do that at any given moment anyway, right? I can't publicly. If I put on a show, I can't put on a poster or an event where it's going to be. I have to put it secret.
Is that the way you did it with this?
Yeah. So basically, if you buy a ticket 2 hours before the event, you get an email with the address.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a speakeasy or something like that, which is kind of sexy and cool. But I'd rather not do that though. Mm-hmm. I'd rather just be able to do comedy and not, but people email venues and they start shit. And I had a show canceled because of one email. Right. So, and I've gotten more heat since then for some stuff. So it'll be more than guaranteed now. It'll be more than one. And like, if my name's anywhere on a poster or on an event, people will look it up and then they'll start email campaigns against the business. Right.
Right.
And businesses, I'm not even going to judge them. I'm just going to say this the way it is. It's not worth it to them and they cancel the show. So
do you have other comedians in Canada that you can, in Vancouver especially, that you can relate to when it comes to this type of stuff or no?
No. I have guys who are like sympathetic, but no one deals with this shit in Canada.
And are they mostly sympathetic on the down low?
There's some who are sympathetic on the up high. Yeah. But it's not many. It's only a few of us, right? So basically, if I had to put it, I'm the one who gets the most heat. Right. These guys will help me out in whatever way they can. They'll put me on their shows, but I still tell them, don't put me on your poster. Like your venue will get the show will get shut down if you put me on your poster, right?
And it's not from comedy fans, is it?
Comedy fans, no.
Has there been anybody so far who's like, oh, good, they don't put you on the flyer, on the poster, whatever, and then you get on stage and they're like, oh shit.
No. I'm. If anyone doesn't disbelieve me, just go look at my YouTube and look at the clips I put up. I mean, I'm pretty good at comedy. I've worked my ass off at it. The audience never has. Okay, I shouldn't say never has a problem, but considering the amount of comedy I do and have done, the amount of times audience has actually got fucked off during a show is minuscule. Like right. I've been since 2013, I've been doing 5 to 20 sets a week. And maybe less than 10 times has there been a major an audience, super negative audience interaction. Less than 10 times, right?
Okay. Now that super negative audience reaction, what is that normally?
Hey, what the fuck? That's fucking racist. I can't believe it. Then they usually just leave. Right.
Okay. So yeah, because even non-racist motherfuckers will get a heckler from time to time.
Yo, absolutely. That's comedy. That's you could get hecklers who just are drunk and not paying attention and just felt like beaking off. You could get bachelorette parties. They're the worst. Right. Bunch of women who horrendous. Well, they're self-centered to begin with. And then second of all, it's all a bachelorette party. It's all about me. It's all about me, Jenny. And why would you go to a thing where you have to be quiet, Jenny? Why don't you go to the thing where you can be loud? So then they go to stand up and then they're like, the comic is on stage with the attention all on them, but they want the attention that night. It's just, I don't even know why they do that. Why don't you just go to a dance club or something? Anyway, But to answer your question, no, it doesn't happen. It's not from the audience. It's almost never and that's the thing about this cancel outrage culture that it's a myth that most people who go to a comedy show are still pretty well down to experience a comedy show. They're pretty well familiar. They're like, okay, people are probably going to say some wild shit or cross some lines. Sure. And we're here for that. The majority of people, they aren't the ones who speak for the culture, though. Unfortunately, they aren't the ones who the industry. We don't really have an industry in Canada, but comedy community. It's like a small percentage of the population is the ones that does all the speaking for it, right? And
we were talking about that the other day. How that's always been that way. There was that. When Opie and Anthony got fired off of WNEW, it wasn't there was outrage that got them fired, but there was a small percentage, and it was Catholics and the Catholic League, whoever the fuck the name is. The head of the Catholic League actually was the one who was like, we need to fire these people, and wrote a letter and put pressure on the company, and that's why that happened. Have you had any of that, like the trickle down, so a company is getting
no, Canada's not big enough to have those problems. It starts at pretty well the grassroots level so like I've said before, in Canada, you don't get canceled per se. What they do is they prevent you from being able to make moves so you never get started.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems
so let's say I'm banned from every show in Vancouver, which I almost am, right? You need to, in order to do comedy, as I've told you and I've said many times, I can't practice in the garage. I need a live audience. I need to do it 5 to 20 times a week. That's how they do it in New York. That's how they do it in LA. You just get up on stage as much as possible, and that's how you get better at comedy, right? You need a live audience. Right. If the comedians and producers who run shows, most producers who run shows are comics. They don't like you for whatever reason, won't put you on their show. That 20 starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it essentially makes it so you can't maintain your skill level, right? Can't maintain your skill level. You don't have a product you can market anymore.
Does that happen the other way? So like, as an example, every type of comedian is very different, right? There's like, your Mitch Hedberg, there's your Jessica Curson, there's your, people like that. Does it ever go the other way where like you wouldn't put on a Ryan Hamilton or someone clean like that? You know what I mean?
Nah, the dirty, edgy guys never really give a fuck, right? We're not the ones who are like preventing people from working or anything like that. We don't care. We just want to do comedy usually.
So. And usually it's never like, okay, we're not going to get this guy on, even though he's asking and he's got a little bit of a draw, because we're a different vibe. We're a different theme.
Some people legitimately don't fit on certain shows. That's fair. But that's not what what I'm talking about that happens to be, that's not what they're talking about. It's not like, because the show is a diverse show with different types of one-liner, storyteller, absurdist, right? And then I would be the edgy, dirty one, but they won't put me on because they don't like the things I joke about, right? So.
Do you ever, when you're writing, do you ever feel like I can't, that's a joke for someone else. That's like a one-liner joke, or that's a whatever, I won't give, or would you not be happy to like throw in a non sequitur while you're taking a sip of your water?
As long as I think the joke is funny, and also I have to have a certain amount of is that in my voice? I'll tell it.
Have you thought of a joke that is not?
Tons. I give them to people. I say, I think this would work better for your act. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
How soon did something like that? How soon did you get to the level of writing where you were like, I've got so much shit that I'm happy to give some away?
Within a couple of years. It's not like it happens every week, but it's just sometimes I'll think of an idea and I'll be like, oh, there's something there, or here's a punchline, or here's a premise, or here's a setup. Hey, Jeff, this sounds better for you. I think you would work better for you than it would me. Because comics, in theory, No, that's mine. That's mine.
Okay.
It says if nigger is going to be said, it's going to be coming out of these beautiful lips right here.
Notice how Canadian.
Notice how small they are and not puffy. See?
Yes.
That's the ones built.
Is thin.
The ones built for saying it.
Right. You don't have hot Cheeto dust on your.
No.
I got stuck in an elevator.
Sunburn. Right.
I got stuck in an elevator 2 hours ago for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, with a black lady who was late for a flight. It was actually, it was interesting to watch because it was like, oh, that's what that you ever heard Patrice's bit about black girls get you refunds?
Oh, okay. No, okay.
Like how if you're dating a black woman and you could wear a shirt for like 6 months, it could have holes in it, smells, just pit stains, whatever, and you bring it back to Target, a black lady will get you your refund.
I can see that. Yeah. As soon as you said it, just the premise, I was like, I see what I see.
Yeah.
I know a guy in Toronto. I don't want to ruin his joke, but he says whenever he's dating a black girl, basically what he has to decide is how much does he appreciate, how much can he handle being yelled at in public. No.
Why are they like that? It's interesting. I was thinking about that too. There's some bit. Steve Harvey had a bit where he was like, black people don't get fired the same way. You can't fire a black man the same way. And I've never, not that you would fit it into a comedy bit on purpose, but there should be at least some context to that. Like, oh, by the way, it's possible, because the way it is like Willie Jones or whatever the fuck is like gets mad, throws over the table, everybody's laughing, blah, blah, blah. It's never at least addressed that Willie is probably bad at his job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for some reason and maybe that's a youngness thing, maybe that's a whatever, but a lot of the public black persona doesn't really understand consequence.
Right.
Why is that? I'm wondering. And listen, we all have different skills. We all have different whatever. I certainly make fun of white people just as much, if not more. Probably a lot more than anybody else. But I'm wondering why there's something in maybe it's the culture, sure, but I think it might be. What if it was in the blood? Like, is that a fucked up thing to just talk about science that way? That as an example, apparently most Chinese people are lactose intolerant, like because they didn't have cheese, they didn't have milk. That's not the way they get down. So I'm wondering, like, maybe there's something in there, Well,
I'm a fan of oh shit, I fucked the word up. What is it? What is that thing? I fucked the joke up. I had the word wrong. I was going to say nephrology, but that's kidney shit.
Oh no, I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
the shape. No, the shape of the head one.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that as much as anyone else. Right.
But I'm not saying that means to the point, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it should be allowed to be at least discussed, the whole bell curve thing. It's
phrenology. I'm a fan of phrenology, just like the next guy.
We all are.
Yeah. So is it in the blood? Probably.
There's got to be, because you can't tell me that black motherfuckers don't dominate sports. And it was brought up by what's his name, not Willie the Greek, something the Greek, the sports announcer, about how he got fired for it. How like it was because of slavery, what I mean? How they worked for fucking hundreds of years, and evolution just matched that shit and put high butts and muscles or whatever. Yeah. So there's got to be something, and there's something about also black people that really understand rhythm. Seems. Understand rhythm.
I think it's just because their culture in some ways is cooler. There's just culture seems, and maybe that's why that sort of perception of consequence isn't the same as an anxious fucking white suburban kid whose parents are kind of nerdy. They just seem to be able to. Things are just more.
It's certainly not because if there's a strong ass. A black mother as an example, or a black father, or whatever, which doesn't exist. But if there's a strong black, parent presence, they are more than happy, even now, to beat the shit out their kid if they need to, so that's consequence. But I'm wondering, like, when it comes to like maybe adulthood, or when it comes to like, there's a lot of kids where I would work, and back in restaurants and stuff, and people from all walks, 17 to 22, you're gonna have high turnover because they're like, this is bullshit. I should be working for IBM, even though I've never but going back to that Steve Harvey bit, where it's just like, why isn't it at least addressed? There's a Kanye West line where he's like, I guess they want us all behind bars. What did he say? There's something about how like back when he was growing up, like the drug dealers were the rock stars, and now they can't cop cars without seeing cop cars. I guess they want us all behind bars. So
Right.
let me take that the last line. I guess they want us all behind bars, but the drug dealers know that they're doing something illegal. So why would it be a shock and a surprise that they're getting in trouble with the law? Like, why would it? No, even if you disagree with the law, or like, well, we had no choice but to that's fucking horseshit anyway. But like, why wouldn't you at least understand logically? I do this and this happens. Why is it always, oh, bad stuff happened? You know,
I honestly, to put it quite simply, and it is overly simplistic, but I think liberal fucking propaganda horseshit. Just soft bigotry of low expectations, right. Over and over and over, generational, right?
Right. Yeah. And when black people internalize that, that's fucking. I mean, I'm so happy that there's such an uprising in black, like non-liberal shit going on. You know?
Yeah, because a lot of black people are saying what you're saying.
Yeah. Black people, especially like on the abortion tip, dude. You know, black people don't want to kill their baby. Like black people are super into God. These Antifa kids are gonna try to get God away from, like, once you get religion away from the evil white, because everybody thinks that they're you know, what's that thing, that joke I made where everybody thinks they're the lawyer from Mississippi Burning. You know, oh, it's the trope of the evil white. Once you get the religion away from the whites, you think you're going to have a fucking easy time. Black people love Jesus. They love the shit out of Jesus. Even if they haven't gone to church in 20, 30 fucking years, any of their black cousins or whatever says the word, oh, you backsliding, there's like a weird guilt. There's a Christian guilt that is imbued in the system there. So that's not going to work out for these Antifa kids. You know what I mean? This goal of we're gonna get this communist utopia where no God, and we're all just sitting on a blanket singing Kumbaya. That doesn't exist, and nor should it. I don't think utopia is a good ideal. You know? No.
Well, especially their version of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that John Lennon. Everybody sucks John Lennon's dick for Imagine. The first line is like, imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. The whole song is, you know, I hope someday you'll join us and the world can live as one. So there's not going to be any peace until we all believe exactly like John Lennon. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, yes, there's degrees to this shit, John. Like, we can believe different things and not kill each other over it. Absolutely. I can imagine that all day long. But if you think it's like, well, once everyone believes there's no God and there's no money and there's no possessions, even though he was a rich, dumb cunt, then everybody will be in peace once everybody believes like me. That's what children think. Fuck.
Well, a lot of celebrity Hollywood entertainment industry is infatuation, celebration, fetishization, and refusal to let go of youth. That's what it's all about. Being a rock star is about being an adult child, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, and we all want to do that. That's what we all want to be, celebrities. That's the ultimate thing in life. And the more and more I'm around the entertainment industry, and I'm not even that deep into it, I'm on the periphery, if anything, the more and more I like, because, you know, we go to those things that we go to. You know, the what do you call them when you have to talk about spiritual groups? Because I have to live like that, and I like to live like that now.
Absolutely.
I used to have to, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I don't want to die of a drug overdose, so I guess I might as well do that. And then it's like, well, then it was kind of like, some of this shit's gay, but it improves my life, so it's like insulin for my diabetes. Now I like living like it, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know how much I want to be involved in entertainment.
Right.
To be honest, it's starting to be like, is this really the best use of my time?
Right.
Yeah.
What are the most the worst parts of it so far that you?
The people. How you get ahead is all based on greasiness and narcissism and fucking sales, and it's not just based on the art, and it's not like being it's very ego driven. I'm up on stage and it's always about, look at me, did you like my joke? Oh yeah, approval. It's just got, and it's like smoking crack stand up, man. Like, it's a huge amount of time and effort for 5 minutes, right? So it's fun. I'm not going to say it's not fun. Just like, well, smoking crack was fun. Shooting coke was fucking very fun. I loved it.
Sure.
But there does, and I'm not saying I go through this all the time. Is like, is this the best use of my time? And one day I might go, it's not, and I might just so. And I think if you're going to pursue anything as passionately as I do, or you do, or what we do, or people we know and or similar, I think you do need to question it sometimes. And I think life is sometimes like, let's just say I quit doing comedy tomorrow. Comedy brought me to this point in my life, and there will be something else beyond it. It's not a waste or anything like that, right? I'm also getting to this point, as cheesy as it sounds. This is all brand new, just from today, by the way. So it's right on my chest.
Okay.
Just like I wish your poo was.
I know. It would have no, I don't have anything. I thought it would be like a corn joke. I was reaching.
I got the phrenology joke. I fucking totally you laid me up.
It would have adobo on it.
Yeah.
As soon as it came out, it would sound like Guantanamera, and then it would hit your. All right, continue.
Okay.
Would you smear it into your nipple hair? That's my question. When I would shit on your chest in your dream scenario, if I shit on your chest, would you smear the shit into the hair?
No, I would cradle it like it's an infant, because it's your essence, and I'd want to protect it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What type of bag would you put it in? Would it be like a saran wrap? Because if you
I would saran wrap it around my chest. I'd saran wrap it around my chest so it's always near my heart.
Okay. How soon into it? Like how would you maintain when it starts to decompose? It starts to harden the water in the shit. Like,
puppy, need a refill. The garden needs pruning, puppy.
Because I would think, like, I don't know if it would work though. Remember the end of Brokeback Mountain where Jake Gyllenhaal, or what's his face, like sniffed Jake Gyllenhaal's shirt?
I don't.
You didn't see?
Yeah, I saw. Of course, I saw Brokeback Mountain. It's a good movie, actually.
It's a great fucking movie.
Yeah, it's actually a very good movie. But quit poking holes in my fantasy, faggot. Fuck.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of Brokeback Mountain,
imagine if I was dead.
You gotta like find, like, you sound like a comedian, like one of my colleagues. Like, oh, I don't think that joke works because they can't suspend disbelief just for 3 seconds.
No, I'm trying to dig it deeper. I'd like to get into the fantasy as if I was dead.
Okay, it falls. Okay, I will admit, there is a certain point at which my fantasy falls apart when it meets reality. I have to. That's why it just. Can I just have it?
All right.
Can I just have? Yeah.
No problem. Maybe I'll make like a.
Imagine.
Right.
All the people.
Imagine Pete's shitting on your chest. I'm moving. I'm fucking with the goddamn. All right. I hope the audio.
It sounds really good. Your audio sounds very good, by the way.
Okay, good. Are the levels right between the two of us?
Dude, this site is way better than Zoom or Skype.
Okay.
However, to record, you have to have a subscription, which I do.
Well, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Well, thank you very much for that. Question. Yes. In your travels through all that stuff, what else is keeping you feeling like, is this the best use of my time?
That's what I was going to get to. Thank you for reminding me. I'm getting to a place, as cheesy as it might sound, where I think I need to be more productive in life, meaning contributing rather than taking. And comedy is a very taking thing.
I know it's a new thought, and I don't want to, I support your dreams, even if they are, whether it be quitting comedy or me shitting on your chest, I support your dreams. But I get a lot out of comedy, and I get a lot out of the content that the people I follow. It's
you don't have to do it though. That's the difference. And it's I just often wonder if maybe there's better uses of my time. It's not as easy. Like, I know that's the argument people make all the time, is that we get so much out of it. It's like, but there's it's a lot of work, and it's often not worth it. That's it. It's just not worth it. And I know I'm supposed to fight the good fight and all this kind of stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes, I think maybe there's other things I could do with my time than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the way
I can't do it at home. That's the biggest difference. I got to go out 5 to 20 times a week and deal with all this shit. That's the part that's different. And that's the part that people they don't do when they're doing the calculation. They go, oh, right. That part. Right. I can't just jam. Like if I was a musician, like my musician.
No. I'm going to stop you before you, because I know that's where I knew that's where the train you were going.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nonsense. I've had to perform at least once or twice a week for the last 7 years to get as good as I am. And even then,
Right.
the majority of my gigs, almost all, besides my album release party last year and things like that, the majority has been doing other people's music at wine bars in order to make $200-300.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I do it fucking well, and and I make fans,
know.
and I'm memorable, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But that's the majority of how to make money and support yourself with.
Right. Now, the thing is with comedy, 90% of what I do, I don't get paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the other one. This is all costing me money most of the time.
And you're how many years in?
7.
Okay.
And it's getting harder and harder to make money.
Are there people less further along? Are there people newer in the game who are making more money?
Yep. Anyone who's not me, and I don't mean Mark Hughes, but doing the comedy I do, probably makes more money than I do. It's because of the type of comedy I do. It's marketable. Yes, the average person likes it, but because there's no infrastructure that'll support it, it's hard to make money.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially in this country, especially in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
I would feel, and maybe, I think you're exactly correct in the idea that we're supposed to question ourselves. I think any good artist, sorry to mention Patrice again, but like one of the things he said on Opie and Anthony on an episode was he was marveling at the confidence of hacks. How hacks are always just like, oh, this is great. And they just hop up and da-da-da. People who are actually good are often tortured by like, is this good? Is this fucking worth it?
Well,
this sucks.
I'm similar to Patrice, and I don't want to throw myself in the same camp, but him and I have some parallels. I don't get along with a lot of my colleagues. So there's a big chunk of why a lot of my colleagues do it. The hang. They like the hang. Take the hang out of it, right?
You don't hang out with other comedians?
Not really. No.
Do you feel like part of that is because of the drinking and using thing, or do you
that
feel like...
I'd say that's a portion of it. The other portion is a lot of them are weasels and two-faced. A lot. It's just they're a lot. I'm a lot older than most of them, so it's weird hanging out with them. My life experience has been completely different than theirs. The political stuff is involved. That the political stuff is a big part of it. It's a majority leftist thing, and they're really vocal about it. So I have a hard time I'm not a networker, man. I'm not just to sit there and, hey, how you doing, Pete? I'm just, and Patrice had the same problem. He didn't air quotes know when to keep his mouth shut. And I'm not like that. Yeah.
True. But Patrice realized towards the end of his life, he didn't know it was the end of his life, but Patrice realized that a lot of that was his defense against getting hurt. I'm not saying yours is, but do you feel like part of that could be, do you feel like some of it anyway could be a self-fulfilling prophecy thing? Where okay, obviously
I truly believe the answer is no to what you're saying. I'm not even joking.
I know that.
No, I'm just, man, I know where you're going with this. Just trust me. I've been thinking about this for a long time.
I'm trying to tease apart different parts of it.
Okay.
Like you said, it's multifaceted. It's the drinking, using. It's you're older than them. It's whatever. And
it's not as noble a pursuit as people want to make it out to be either. That's the other thing. People are really precious about stand-up. It's really not that precious. It's fun. It's fun when it's fun, but most of it fucking sucks. Especially in this country. That's the thing. Right. That's the reality. It's not anything you know about comedy doesn't apply in Canada. For real. It doesn't apply up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Ward hasn't. Is he at least famous up there?
He's successful because he speaks French.
Nah, fuck.
Yeah.
How many fucking French people are there in Quebec?
Enough to make an industry. That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard what's his face, that French motherfucker from France. He's friends with Jerry Seinfeld. He's big in France. He comes out.
I know the one you're talking about. Can't name slips in my mind though. Yeah.
Yeah. Emily.
I know him by face, but I'm not familiar with him.
There's a Comedians in Cars episode. Yeah. I guess I know he goes to Quebec and tours and stuff.
There's a bunch of countries you can perform in if you speak French. That's the other thing. It's not just Canada. There's a whole bunch that speak but French are kind of like blacks. They take care of their own. You know what I mean? That like you know, they have black rooms in the States where it's like you can be a black comic and just do black rooms and actually do okay because they kind of they'll show up and they're all late, of course, but they show up. So it's not like that. English speaking biggest problem, and Mike Ward even said this in an interview. He said the problem with Canadian comedy, the Canadian entertainment industry, but in particular as it applies to comedy, Canada's like a small town. They won't take you seriously until you make it big in the city. The city being the
America, right?
Right. And guess who can't cross the border? Wah. Right. So
when you advertise, do you? I'm guessing you don't focus on Canada.
Advertise which
posts or things like that.
Well, I focus on where I'm at if I'm gonna, you know.
Well, if you're going to do a show, I'm talking like your clips, like
I kind of, yeah, when I do that stuff, it's sort of general worldwide. I'd prefer actually the Americans to see it because it raises the algorithms. Algorithms are fucked now too, though, man. That's since last year. So it's like, yeah,
I was telling you, I'll tell the audience too, but like my, I was raving about, like 3 weeks ago, I was raving about my TikTok and how I gained 10,000 followers in a matter of like 4 or 5 months. My video views, there's one that's 700,000, 800,000, and then there's a few that are like 22,000, and then there's a few that are like 10,000, 15,000 views. And then I got flagged for one for no reason. It was just, I mean, I said cunt a couple of times, but it wasn't like bad. And then I sent a message to TikTok, hey, you refused, you flagged this and took it down. I think that's incorrect. So he said, oh yeah, our bad. And they reinstated it. And since then, it's been about 3 weeks now. My video views average 25 views and I have 10,000 followers.
All my social media has always sort of been like that. Like I'll have more of the views to subscriber or follower list, friend, whatever you want. It is way super low.
Right, but there's no reason why my views should go from an average of 1,000 to
once you get shadow banned, though, it's the way it goes, baby.
Right, but I wish they would just say that.
That's welcome to fucking doing things online. This is the real. This is it. And just to clear something up for our listeners or our viewers, whoever's watching this, to go back to something you said before, like the drug dealer going, "Oh man, I can't believe the cops arrested me and threw me in jail." I make offensive I don't think it's offensive, but let's just say everyone else does. Even if I don't think the drugs that I'm selling are bad, other people do. So I'm getting caught for it and I'm getting punished for it. So sometimes I accept that, but I have to also say, okay, I'm getting punished for it, just like the drug dealer getting caught and going to jail. Do I still want to continue selling drugs or not? Right. That's what I'm always saying, because the culture's not changing. Well, it is. Yeah,
I understand the analogy you're going for, but I do think obviously it's different for a number of ways. Number one, when people go to try to get the laws changed, right? That is doable. You know, there was a Joy Villa. I'm going to try to have her on the show. Actually, she would be a great interview. Joy Villa is a conservative actress and model, and she's been, you know, blacklisted from a lot of things. And she was actually talking on, I think it was Congress, could have been Senate, the other day about changing the law to protect political, you know how they have all these laws to protect the gays and protect the trans and protect this, like to protect political affiliation. You know what I mean? The main difference between the analogy you made and what we do is that someone thinks they know what's better for all of us. If you like, obviously there, let's take pot as an example. For a long time, pot was just there. It's Satan. It's gonna, you know, reefer madness and blah, blah, blah. And then people have opened up to it for whatever reasons. And now it's, you know, you could fucking pretty much anywhere. You could smoke pot walking down the street and it's fine. Relax.
Comedy's the opposite, though. For the longest time, everyone thought it was great. Now they're trying to suppress it, right? So it's the inverse of pot.
Right.
Yeah.
And the main thing is an analogy on Open Anthony was put out once where it's like, if you're walking down the street and you have a live chainsaw, you know, you have to like tiptoe to make sure you're not you like go right to the line, be offensive, but not to the point where you're going to get fired. And he said, it's worse than that. There's someone with a bullhorn who says, "Oh, you just hit that lady in the arm," and you didn't. You didn't actually touch her. There's an unaffected party who's saying you hit this person or you could have hit this. You know what I mean? So it's not even.
That's a great analogy. I'm just going to add one component to it. There's an audience saying how awesome you are, but the bullhorn person for some reason has control of the lever.
Right.
Yeah. And the lady didn't get hit. And just like you said, the lady didn't actually get touched by the chainsaw. Yeah.
Is there a way? Because I really think it's whites who are the main problem. Like, do you ever, by the way, just as a side note, do you ever get offended by people saying that? As a full-blown white, do you ever go like, okay, maybe does it depend on the person saying it in the context?
Do I get offended? I don't know if it's offended, but it's more like I roll my eyes because I know it's fucking okay, so correct. It's whites doing all this. Whites are the worst, but we're the best at it. Sure. Do I get offended when people say white people do this or males are always doing this? It's not offense. It's more like if I said all black steal cars, like, and a black person is like, I don't know if a black person would get offended at that, but I imagine it'd be somewhat similar where they go, okay, fuck, I know what you're saying, but it's also fucking, it's not true too, right?
What about and it's just context? But what about in the context? I would just, because I want to go after white liberals here.
Yeah.
But I think whiteness has a factor to it.
Yes.
Like we were saying at the beginning, how blacks are just better at rhythm just out the womb.
White people are better at being the worst. Yes.
White people we're just very business minded and right? Or half of me.
Full of anxiety and fucking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that's evolution and culture, and there's lots of factors. But there's a certain, but does it offend you when people you agree with start attacking whites for the right reasons that you agree with?
No, not at all.
You go like, I feel guilty.
No. Okay. I'll give you an example. No, not at all. Here's an example of something where I just roll my eyes and go, oh, Jesus Christ. It's not white, but it's male. Like if we start talking about like suicide or homelessness and they're like, oh, geez, privilege and da-da-da. And, women kill themselves. It's like, yeah, but men still kill themselves more. So just be honest.
I think it's like
85%, 85%, right? There's three groups, there's three issues that affect men, and it's about the same percentage no matter which one it is. Suicide, homelessness, drug overdose. All between 75 and 85%, give or take.
Wow.
So it's because it's pretty well the same population.
Right.
The same type of.
Just as a side, I was also watching Game of Thrones and and realizing obviously it's a fake and fantasy. Yeah. But it also is modeled after the medieval times. And medieval times, all the way up to Vietnam and further. Women are like, we would this and we would that, and that's true. And they had it rough for a long fucking time. Yeah. But we also would die real fucking fast. Like if we were summoned to a war, whether we agreed with it or not, we're probably going to die.
Right.
We're probably going to die. So in Game of Thrones, when the ladies are all, the highborn ladies are all hiding in the thing and like, oh, I wish I, it's like, okay. Yeah, it sucks that you get raped from time to time, but we die fucking all the time. We just run onto the field and get a bullet in the brain before we even leave the boat in Normandy. Like, fuck, man, there's got to be, if you make the scale.
Intersectional feminism says rape is worse than murder, though. So
yeah, because they're stupid asses, dude. I've known a lot, and from our travels through our spiritual groups, we've known a lot of women who have faced trauma, and it is fucking horrendous. And I do not condone rape. I do not condone molestation, but it's fucking survivable. It's more than survivable. Even who is the
sometimes even enjoyable.
Actually, Jessica Curson, she's a fucking hilarious comedian. She was talking about how she was obviously raped. It was traumatic, and years later, she actually would masturbate to it a couple of times.
Well, when I got raped, I didn't know there was a prostate gland, and then I felt the dick in my ass. I was like, hey, that feels pretty good. I wish it wasn't a rape, and I wish it wasn't a dude, but that felt pretty good. Wow. See, yeah,
interesting. Yeah, Anthony.
Everything's a lesson. It's just
Anthony Cumia said once, it's like getting choked with a vanilla ice cream cone. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, okay, this feels good. I'm dying, but it, you know what I mean? It's like a weird. How long did it take you to process that to the point where you have now? Does it still take time? Is it?
It's funny. I don't know if the sexual assaults, plural, I've had many. But I mean, look at me. Who wouldn't? I don't know. It's like I've always, I was in survival mode when I was a junkie criminal when it all happened, right? And so you just kind of, wipe your ass, get the blood off, fucking go out and do a score, or, try and pretend it didn't happen and get into recovery. And, you got some trigger points and stuff like that. But the funny thing is, not funny, just odd, queer, if you will, is that it never really fucked me up. They say that's actually a myth about like some hardcore traumatic events. Is it doesn't actually necessarily fuck people up the way people in the stereotypical way that people assume, right? So biggest thing I had to contend with when I got into recovery is I didn't know if I was gay or not. Now it's here. Let me clarify that. The reason I didn't know if I was gay or not is because I wasn't attracted to men and never was. But I'd had a lot of sex with men, forcible and otherwise. And I just didn't know. I was kind of like, well, what does that mean? Is that like, and I'd always had bad luck with women and girls since I was, and so I was like, what is that? And then, so I had to, it took a little while, but I came to terms with no. And I remember just someone said, are you attracted to men? Do you think about sucking cock? I was like, no, never. And he goes, there you go, man. Verdict's in. Right. I went, oh, okay.
You got sober at 22, 23?
26.
26. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I kind of think that's normal in a lot of ways too.
Especially even if you'd never been a drug addict or a criminal, if you'd had some, because boys especially, well, I guess girls experiment, but boys do as well. And teenagers, it's a confusing time. And let's face it, when you're an awkward, weird kid, again, even removing the drugs and crime, you might, you're not going to be good with girls, and your buddies we're all horny little bastards. Like, hey, you want to try this? And hey, let's put that in my mouth. And you could. Right. I know guys who check this one out. I know guys who thought they were full on like queer LGBT mayor of the Pride Parade faggots, and they got into recovery, and 6 months later realized they weren't gay.
Right.
Like truly weren't gay. I've told this to gay people. They get upset. Fuck, they're such losers, man. It's like, well, there's straight people who realize they weren't straight. Why couldn't it be the other way around? Like, why is that? Anyway, but I've met them number of times.
I think they kind of assume that they go to the extreme, the end game of, I think maybe a part of it is like, oh, we lost one. Right. Meaning like not one we get to fuck, but one for our side. We lost someone from our team. Right. But also, I think there's an insecurity there. You know what I mean? Just like the same thing with like dudes who are like, oh, don't try to fuck me, queer. It's like most of the time those dudes are real unattractive. You know what I mean? Most of the time, nobody wants to fuck that cocksucker anyway, But I think they're afraid of the end game of, okay, if you say that I could become ungay or choose not to be gay, then you're going to mandate locking down. You know what I mean? Just like if we say, okay, just like they're trying to keep the door open so wide for people who are wanting to get an abortion within a month and who are raped, that they will let a baby literally in, what was it, Virginia, Georgia, anyway, where the baby can come out accidentally when they tried to abort it and they could still kill it. It's between the doctor and the mother. Right. I actually, when I posted that abortion thing, that got a lot of attention. Not as much as the one I had to block somebody the other day, yesterday. I might tell that story, but anyway, when I posted about abortion, I was not surprised, but I was like, good. There was a lot of conversation happening, except there's always some young cunt from fucking Brooklyn or Berkeley or whatever who's like, oh, women are sad. I'm going to fucking protect them. I'm not going to fuck them even though I want to, but I'm going to protect them.
You mean like a white knight dude or a chick?
Yeah, a white knight who was like, I don't like that. I don't like the, he said, it's not Did he say it's not a baby? He said they should be allowed to kill it if it's still inside their body. Now that sounds like a good idea. They should be allowed to kill it if it's still inside their body. So the vaginal wall, if it's just on the other side,
but the feet are still inside. Yeah, the toes.
Yeah. Where I said that joke when I was Eli, this high schooler from San Jose. I was on that show with him like maybe a year and a half ago. I made the joke like if we took Peter Dinklage, Tyrion Lannister, and we put, you can fist some crazy fucking vaginas. You can do, the internet is a wonderful place, and I've seen some things. And if you lubed up Peter Dinklage and put him inside of a woman, could you kill him? You know what I mean? Would it be all right to murder him then because he's on the other side of the vaginal wall?
Right.
It's pretty fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I just wanted to talk.
We were originally shitting on white people. You wanted to say, is this whiteness that does all this? And yeah, the answer is it's whiteness that causes all this. That's correct.
Right. It's whiteness, and it's the black women with shit fuck degrees.
Right.
Now, the black women with shit fuck degrees have gotten further than the white people to the point where now they're the spearheads. Right. Black women with shit fuck degrees about black women. Like, anyway, even on fucking Google, did you see that the other day? I think it was a few days ago. I went on my phone to look at some porn, and I Google on the bottom, click here to find out the history of racism in America. First things first. What? Why do we need to know constantly, just bombarded? Isn't that what school is for? Anyway, and not just that, but these motherfuckers don't understand, like, everywhere had slavery forever. You think the Native Americans didn't fight no motherfucker to come here, and then for fucking hundreds and thousands of years they just kicked it and ate sunflowers on a blanket? You stupid ass. You stupid fucking ass. And if we're really going to go to, well, it belongs to the Americans, then first things first, right? We need to, well, we're going to play by dibs, right? Okay, so then where do white people go? Well, I don't know if they can really go to France. I don't think they can go to Spain. I don't think they can go to Africa. I don't think they can. We need to get everybody, all of the billions of white people, we need to put them all in England. Right. And we need to put all the billions of black people and put them all back in Africa. Like, even Stevens doesn't fucking work. It's a stupid children. Anyway, sorry.
I get it. Yeah, white people. Yep.
And black women with shit fuck degrees. And the problem is now, even if the white people want to go, wait, I don't think I agree with that. It's too late.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've already set it up where black women with shit fuck degrees can hurt people, can overrides all that shit.
Up here in Vancouver, it's trans that is the supreme ruler. And
I've heard indigenous people as well. First Nation.
But it's not them, it's their white handlers. It's trans issues trump everything.
Okay.
Up here, it's particularly in this city. Trans is, if you want to get death threats, do anything that questions the trans agenda. Didn't say criticizes, questions. Just a question. Will riles. Again, it's not just a lot of trannies will be fucking sending the rape and death threats to women, but it'll be dudes doing it. It's like they were waiting in the fucking wings. They couldn't wait to fucking go, okay, am I allowed to threaten and to rape women now? And these are all the allies they claim, right? It's fucking
mostly
weird.
White men.
Yep.
Mostly white men who have probably had like 2 sexual partners their whole life, who lucked into it.
The black dude's like, yeah, I don't want to fuck that thing.
Oh, I'm so happy.
That's a dude.
Yeah, it has a dick. I mean, you can vote and be protected from.
I just don't want to fuck it.
But like, yeah. So how do we fix these white motherfuckers? Like, I've been pushing big on self-care because I think that's the biggest thing that people miss. And I'm not saying self-care like light some candles.
No. It's sometimes self-care is, and that's what I'm talking about. Everything I've talked about with my comedy is where where I'm at right now, is how do I do self-care? So it's questions. I haven't implemented anything yet because I'm just questioning, but I know I need to, there's some self-care I need. Right. Which could possibly be in the form of not doing comedy anymore and finding something else to do. Or it could just be recalibrating. I don't know.
Right.
But proceed.
Or, spending 20 minutes instead of 10 minutes on meditation, or, writing affirmations or whatever. And
working
also,
with more people, looking for volunteer positions, all kinds of different
right.
stuff.
There's a good amount of, and I've said it over and over again. And I know, I got a few messages this week from, I think I was telling you, like, from people who are like, you used to be so open and now you're, so closed and blah, blah, blah. Dumb fucks. First things first, I'll do what I want. So start your own podcast, you fuck.
That's the other one.
Realize very quickly that it's incredibly difficult, especially the fact that I talk for hours and hours on end. There's days, literally, I think it's up to like 9 days, full days of me just talking. You know what I mean? And obviously with people. But a lot of that is me.
Still.
Right.
And then you have to edit it. Then you have to post it. Then you got to read the stupid comments. Right. Yeah. I hate those ones more than I hate the people giving me death threats. The ones who are like, they're not exactly criticizing. Well, they're criticizing you, but they're also like alleged fans, or they liked it, but they're also, I loved it, but here's how you can fix it. It's like, man, I'm not getting paid to do this. Like, you just consumed the content I made. It's of course
really
it's not perfect. Of course it's not perfect. I'm doing it there's a fucking ferret running around shitting on the floor in my fucking studio. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think? And I get, hold your thought. I get that once you put it in the public square, it's open but the ones who are like, have you thought about doing this? Or why don't you do that? Like, just do it yourself, man. Why don't you take your idea and create yourself? Like, that's the neat thing about this. It's open to the public.
They are jealous.
Really though? That's what people say. Are they?
That's a piece of it. A piece of it. Sometimes they really think I'm helping.
Right.
A portion of it. There's one guy in particular, and I won't say his fucking name because I still want to maintain a fucking friendship with him. But there's one guy in particular won't like really, like, every once in a while I was like, I don't think that's really it's like, you decided to have a wife and a kid. You decided to not do art, okay? To put out a certain, I won't say the type of thing he creates, but you decided to do that and put out one piece of art a fucking year, maybe, and barely promote it. Don't jump on my fucking dick and try to tell me how to do shit. You decided to take the fucking easier path, and you're grateful because you have children now and it's great, blah, blah, blah. Suck fucking dick if you think I'm going to go, oh, what do you think? Yeah, let me take your fucking notes. Oh, you don't think identity politics is how I should be easier. I should be right down the middle of the road. Eat a dick. Eat a dick. A million times eat a dick.
And also, we're just fucking around here, right? Like, it's just me talking. Like, who gives a shit? And also, have you ever watched anything, a YouTube video, of fucking listen to a podcast and didn't like something and immediately felt the need to comment? I've never. I just went, that was stupid. Next.
Right.
That's it. I don't get the, I better tell them this. I have commented positively. I have been a snake and went, oh, this got a lot of views. I'm going to put a link of my shit in there. I've done that.
Yeah.
But to be like, I didn't like that one thing he said about men, or she said about men. Not all men. Fuck off. Why? Like, and I don't care. Like, again, I always just thought, if I really don't like something, I'll just create something that's the counter, the rebuttal. Right.
And that takes not only time, effort, and energy, that takes risk. And
I guess it does take risk, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's a lot easier to go, you know what? I'll just watch The Office again. You know what? I wonder if I want Chinese or pizza. You know what? I'm going to sit back and play it easy, and don't goddamn get in my goddamn face. When it goes back to that thing we were talking about earlier, when there's a clean comic, or when I'm friends with this band called Cookie Tongue. I don't know if they're friends with me, to tell you the truth. Like, I think they look at me and they're like, this guy's not like doing the same things we do. And probably doesn't believe the same politically, whatever. But I fucking love what they do. I fucking love what they do. They make very different music than I make. They make very different. They're certainly not conservatish. They're certainly not over the top. They're over the top. They push the boundaries in the way that they do. They're in, I would say, the top 15% of their genre. It's not my genre, but I like it. And so I support them. But like, I don't need somebody to do the same thing that I do. And if there's motherfuckers who, where was I going with that? All I'm saying is, if there's motherfuckers who I like and I enjoy, I don't need to be on that same tip as them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because, you know, if there's a clean comic, you don't go, here's what I think you should do. But I think you should say fuck there. Like, you just let them, if they're good at what they do, you respect from afar. You go like, I would like to do a show. If it works, if it doesn't, if not, great. I'll follow you on fucking Instagram at the very
the only for real, literally the only time I ever talked to a female comic about something in this vein that would be comparable to what I get all the time was there was this girl. She doesn't even do comedy anymore. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
She's talking about, she's cute, quite cute, right? I just have a hard time dating. And I just pulled her aside and I said, listen, I'm not trying to tell you what to joke about or what not. No one is ever going to believe you when you say that. You're going to lose the audience because they're not going to believe. It's too unbelievable. I said, if you have a problem with dating, you're probably better off talking about what the actual problems with your dating are. E.g., I only like narcissists. I ghost guys all the time, or whatever, even make it up. But I can't meet guys. People aren't, because she wasn't getting laughs and I knew exactly what it was. It's because the audience, it's like, come on, fuck, you're cute. You meet lots of
on the premise.
Yeah, we can go along when it comes to jokes. It can be as fantastic as you want, but there has to be, I don't know how to describe it, but there has to be a certain level of reality or potential. I went on a date and then I raped her. Okay, that's a stupid joke, but like, well, it's an awesome joke, but I went on a date is believable, right? Like that actually could have happened. I raped her. That's guaranteed possible. But that's not a good example. I can't think of one off the top of my
like well, here's another thing. Even with Mitch Hedberg, who was doing absurdist shit.
Yeah.
Once you got the premise was there's going to be this type of thing over, and then it's funny, and then blah, blah, blah. And once you were sold on that, whatever came out of his fucking mouth, it was authentic. It didn't have to be about my dad hit me and my blah blah. It didn't have to be I have a hard time dating.
That's, you know what it was, and that's what it was. And I knew this girl. It was not 100% not authentic that she couldn't meet a guy. Total bullshit. I don't know what her problem was, but she met lots of guys. I think a lot of it was pickiness, and but anyway, it was not that. But she was saying on stage, I can't meet a guy at all.
Right.
Like no guys ever talked to me. It's like, nah, man, no.
Right.
And that's I didn't tell her what to say. I just said, here's where your problem is. Right. This is why you're going to have a hard time with that joke. But here's what you could do. And I've gotten that advice, and I appreciate that advice. If someone says, you know, that joke, you know, you always lose the audience. Here's a better way to tell it. But it's not a censoring way. It's just it's a colleague to colleague trying to help me out. They saw something I didn't. Totally open to that. That's rare though. Mostly you just shouldn't say that. Or they don't even say anything. You're just not allowed on the show anymore all of a sudden. Right?
Yeah, no, I used to do, should I tell this story? Sure. I used to do hip hop with a guy, and he wanted to do something recent, like a year ago. We haven't talked probably in like 2 years. So I was like, okay, let's bury the hatchet. And so we had a phone call, and instead of burying the hatchet, it was more bringing up I wanted to take care from my part. Cause listen, I'm a fucking performance wise, you can't even imagine, or actually a lot of you have maybe seen me perform, but like I'm dominant. Like on stage, to a fault. I've been in bands where I've gotten better at it, a lot better. I can share the stage, but it's hard for me.
Right.
And I try to be like, especially when I was the hype man singing hip hop choruses for rappers, I would be on stage with them. And especially during the beginning of my career, I did not know how to share a stage. And so I thought everybody's eyes were on me. And so I was the big personality and I was the whatever. And I didn't know how to do that. And there were a few times where I alienated or made somebody feel like, and this guy specifically, I can think of one in Oakland where the audience wasn't paying attention. And when I'm by myself with the guitar, I have no problem in the right context going, none of you cocksuckers are paying attention. I'm now going to punish you for the next hour.
Right.
But it wasn't fair to him to do that. Now, I wanted to take my part in this conversation and be like, hey, and there was some of that, but also it was, don't you understand, Pete, that you're hurting your career by being open about being semi-conservative or pretty conservative? Don't you understand you're hurting people by making race jokes? Don't you understand, like, I'm going to change your mind here and I'm going to make you more milquetoast like I am. Right. He doesn't have, regardless of the genre, he does not have the career or the vibe, the mental vibe that I want in my life.
Right.
Why would I follow his example? You know what I mean? Like you said, colleague to colleague, I'm happy to take from motherfuckers who understand, they're on the premise, like we were talking about, who get the joke, who want to help me. But don't go like, don't you understand it's going to come back to bite you? Fuck them all. I absolutely. Don't you understand? Even saying the name conservatish, I took a long time trying to come up. Do I want to call it the Peter Feliciano podcast? You know what? No, let me just come out swinging. Fuck it. Yeah. I even called a friend. I was like, should I say nigger? You know what I mean? Like a black guy. And he never got back to me. And I was like, and I meditated over it. Like, should I try to not say nigger? You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, because it's going to come out. Like I'm going to
the other thing is, okay, if we're going to, if the subject of the word nigger, it comes up, doesn't N-word just sound gay?
It's a way for you to say it without saying it.
And I just think if we're getting to a point where the word is coming up, why don't you just say the word? Because again, it's about intent and all that kind of stuff anyway, right?
And I've had black men on my show thank me.
Yeah, because it's just a pussy ass thing to be like, okay, if I really don't want to say the word, I will find a way. I just won't ever... and I'm not going to do this, but this is how I would do it if I was like, that word is so poison, it doesn't deserve to ever be mentioned in the lexicon. I won't talk about anything where it could ever come up. That's going to be fucking hard, but that's how you do it. You don't just go N-word. Right. Because I know what you, And Louis C.K. said it. You made me think it. Louis C.K. said, you made me think it when you say that, right? Fuck off. Yeah. Right.
And context is everything.
Absolutely.
I was going to try to make it a bit, but I don't know. You made me rethink whether I should be a comedian or not. But
don't do it. Just focus on.
I think I probably still will. I don't know if I. But I was thinking about how like I can prove that context is everything when it comes to words. Yep. I can prove that. What a lovely ferret.
This is my pup.
I can prove that context is everything. Here are 5 words that you can say separate in a separate context. On ABC or wherever on CNN, here are 5 words you can say outside of context that inside context is one of the worst things you can say. Semen on a baby's butt.
Right.
You can say those words outside of context, no problem. But in context is one of the most disgusting things you can say, right? So context is everything. And so in this conversation, he was like trying to cajole me or trying to get me. I think really he just wanted it. I don't know. It would have been nice to just bury the hatchet, but I don't think it's going to happen. At least
what I get a lot of, and this is typically Canadian, very typically Canadian, is I love what you do. I love it. But can you tone it down?
Right.
And they're not even lying when they say that they love it. Mm-hmm. They're just embarrassed to like, I'd love to help you. Is there any way you could just tone it down? I said, and I'll be like, I thought you said you loved, like, cause it'll be a big lead up. You're saying stuff that no one else says. You're doing stuff that I've never really seen anyone do. You talk the way me and my friends do when no one's around. You joke about, and I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thank you. Appreciate compliments. No problem. Don't need them, but it's nice to hear them. Everything. Once you tell me to tone it down, now it's insulting because why did you even bother with the rest of it? Just shut up. Like you didn't need to say anything, right? And you're trying to make me responsible for your fear now.
Is there a piece of them? Here's my question too. Is some of it them wanting to actually enjoy it more? Because I'll look at it in my own context. I love Tom Segura. I love
Right.
Christina Pazitsky. I love Bobby Lee. But
Right.
Bobby Lee was on Tom Segura's podcast, and he was talking about black people. Don't you understand? They're just wanting to fight for their rights. And I'm like, all right, next fucking episode. Like, I don't want to hear. I tried to skip ahead to see if he might, calm down a little bit. There are certain things. Just because I love an artist and what they do doesn't mean I'm 100% on board or even interested, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Some episodes are not for it. So is it part of it that they were trying to say it was for them that they would like to consume all of your content, or was it?
No, it's I'd like to help you, but it's hard to get. Can you tone it down for other people? Is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we should start wrapping up here in a little bit, but I kind of wanted to also,
or the guy. Here's another one. They'll talk. This happened to me the other day. This comic who kind of is, he thinks he portrays himself as kind of punk rock and all this kind of stuff. And we start talking about industry stuff. And I hate talking about industry stuff with comics because we're not in the same game. We're doing a different game. Because then it's always like, hey, did you hear about this? Yeah, banned from that. Hey, did you hear about this? Yeah, they won't have me on their show. And it just, dude, it starts becoming a bummer once the conversation starts going that way, right? And they also go, no way, is it really like that? It's like, you fucking hang out with the people who cancel shows, you faggot. Shut the fuck up, man. Right. And the gaslighting starts too, right? So anyway, he loves Chappelle and Pryor and Patrice. And I just said, dude, come on, man. Like, we're just talking about something. I said, Canadian industry is never going to give me anything, period. He goes, well, you ever thought about bending? And I'm like, right? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like
Patrice.
None of the legends did. But they and this guy said I'm his friends' favorite comic. Yet I have to bend. And that, again, typically Canadian. It's because, oh, geez, Marge and Gordy might not like it. It's because they're embarrassed to like their own shit, is what it boils down to. They're worried, I like this, but I'm scared other people might not approve of me liking it.
I imbue my audience with trust.
Yes.
I imbue my audience with the trust to understand. I trust that they understand context. I trust them. Yeah. If they don't, that's not my problem. If they think I laugh at this because I understand it's a joke, or I understand it's just talking, or I understand it's just a question, or I understand it's just an opinion, not what's the, Colin Quinn in that new fucking book, Overstated. He was talking about how, it doesn't matter if you punch down or punch up in comedy because it's not punching. It's just words. It's not actually punching. Anyway,
yeah. Exactly.
So I trust my audience to understand that.
Yes.
Right. And if they don't, it's not my fucking business. And here's the thing, audience. If you fucking do, don't try to protect douchebag cunts who don't. Don't try to fucking either they're smart enough to get it or they're not. 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, when he put out those 2 fucking instrumental albums, was he going, I wonder how the pop scene is going to... No, he just said, here's something I created. It's not for everybody. I already know it's going to get much less views than Closer or whatever the fuck, but I like it. And you know what? There's going to be some people who like it, and there you go. He didn't say, hey, Trent Reznor fans, make sure you share this. He just put it out, and he put it out through the right channels to the instrumental cunts who like instrumental shit. Right? So, like, I trust my audience. I understand that they get it. And if they don't get it and they think, oh, if I like it, yeah, but black people don't understand context. You're a stupid cunt then. You're a fucking racist ass. Black people understand context. Trans people understand context. Gays understand context.
Yes. What I tell people, one of the biggest comments I get all the time is like, why isn't my channel bigger? And I tell people, well, it's because of the algorithms, first of all. But second of all, I mean, things grow because people share it and stuff. Yeah. And they go, well, don't people share it? And I say, well, are you going to share it? And they go, well, my grandma's on my wall. So I'm like, well, okay, then that's it, man. And I'm not even going to whine. I'm just going to say, that's why it's not bigger. And that's okay. I mean, I'm going to still encourage people. Please like, share, subscribe. Right. But if you don't, you don't. That's okay. If someone just wants to say to themselves, I don't want to hear it anymore. I really love what you do, but I can't tell anyone. hey man, that's okay. That's fine. Just please don't DM me that anymore. I don't want to read it. It's because I know you're trying to be supportive, but it's actually insulting. Like, just enjoy it silently. That's fine, right? Like, I'd love, or it's not even okay. Let me clarify. If someone was just like, man, I love what you do, I just can't share it. I'm not that much of a fucking soft ass. It's more like, oh my God, I love what you do. Big novel of I love what you do. And then a 3 times as long novel justifying why they can't tell anyone and like all this stuff. And maybe if you toned it down, the CBC would pick you up. It's like, at some point, I mean, it sounds like I sound kind of cucky saying this. It's almost like I'm being abused. You know what I mean? It's like, well, and you know what it is ultimately, and we know this from our spiritual groups. They're making me responsible for their feelings. That's what they're doing. Yeah. Right. They don't, I don't know what to do with this. It's conflict. There's something wrong, cognitive dissonance, conflict in my head. It's your fault. Right. That's ultimately what it is.
Yeah,
they can't
thing, that wonderful line that I said. What did I say? Something about they're holding you hostage to justify their cowardness.
That's right. Yeah. That was beautiful.
It's that same thing. I also, before we get off, I wanted to talk shit about female comedy. Because I think we can do that. I think they need a little bit of medicine about it.
Okay. What do you think?
Like we were saying, I think there are some incredibly funny females.
Oh yeah.
Jessica Kirsten, Bonnie McFarlane, Tina Fey.
Yep.
A lot of fucking funny females.
Yep.
But there does seem to be, I wouldn't say that women can't be funny or women aren't, but the majority don't seem to have the interest of being like legendary. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they don't have that weird drive. That men
ultimately, men are doing it if you break it right down because we're trying to get laid, right? Yeah. So if the motive underneath all the layers is, look at me, I'm intelligent, and I look at these clever things. Yeah, it's higher status, etc. Most comedians weren't the captain of the football team. So this is what we do instead, right? We're mostly awkward, weird people, right?
Right.
We're recovering drug addict, fucking sexual abuse survivor, ex-convicts, right? So women just by default don't need to do that to get laid. Right. So their motivation for doing it is going to be different. Now, what is the motivation for a female? I think it's mostly to be heard, attention, but attention not to get laid. It's more just like, women like attention. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but a lot of women like attention. Sure. Some of it's just complete vanity and ego. It's just, and power. That's another thing.
I think they're also trying to justify their personality, meaning Patrice used to also say sometimes really pretty ones will intentionally force, like, look at my weird hat. Look at my Look at how, or even
I'm such a nerd.
Warriors are doing it now too. Look at how ugly I can make myself, and yet you'll still kill 3 people just to see my ass. Like, you know what I mean? Just to see my titties, you will sacrifice. That's how good they're trying to prove that they're more than just blah, blah, blah. And so they'll force a personality. They'll force, look at how many dicks I've sucked on stage. I'm going to talk about my period and how I can't get a man. Like, they're trying to force a personality rather than, I need to get the poison out. I really want to get laid.
Now,
I really want to get status, and I'm really good at it.
To be fair, 60% to 75% of male comedians are doing it for those reasons now too.
Okay.
So most comedians are cucks. They're really bad cucks. They watched Jon Stewart too much, and then they thought they can do that. Yeah. George Carlin. Wow, he was great. He spoke truth to power. And it's like, but what they forget is George Carlin was unique when he was doing that. Comics didn't really do that, and he was also really funny.
And by the way, he railed against the powers. Have the powers changed, stupid ass? He railed against the powers. Whoever, it says, fight the powers that be, not fight the powers that were in 1986. Stupid ass. Fight the powers that be. Who owns the university? Who owns the comedy club? Who owns the fucking booking? Who owns the YouTube? Who owns the Facebook? Who has the fucking power? Stupid ass. You're not in goddamn Alabama. I just ruined my fucking shit. You're not in goddamn Alabama in the 90s.
You scared my ferret. It's running away.
I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's God, these idiots.
Yes. But a lot of them, it's heavy way to end the episode, but you can see how people have become indoctrinated, right? And it's like, and a lot of people get into comedy now, not even just because they want to make people laugh. They think it's an avenue to change the world. And it's like, ugh, fuck.
And I
don't,
think
comedy doesn't have that much power, man. It really doesn't.
It really doesn't.
No, it's not that precious. No.
And even when there's people who I disagree with, and I talk about why we don't like Trevor Noah. Why you don't like Trevor Noah is because he puts message above comedy.
That's right.
If he says one sentence without the word apartheid in it, it's a fucking miracle. And as a halvesy, I'm allowed to say that sometimes I switch hats between all of a sudden I'm fucking dancing in salsa, and sometimes I'm like, well, I think I get all right. It just happens. It's just code switching or whatever the fuck you want to call it. He plays up his blackness because it helps. It gives him benefits. The reason why nobody likes that cocksucker, and you can prove it. They gave him some weird 45-minute show now instead of half hour. But ever since he took over, started off like, we like John, but we'll give you a shot. And then it's been for fucking almost 4 years. Just
some of that,
message above comedy.
So that's, and I'm not defending him here, but I think there's a further explanation. Some of that is he's got to dance to for the ones who brung him too. So he signed his soul because he's like that anyway. Right. But also they're like, here are the parameters we're going to allow you to work under. And he just works it.
Right, but Jon Stewart didn't. There was a lot I disagree with Jon Stewart politically. But he put funny ahead of message.
And I think these guys, and again, this is where I will impugn them. I will say they do a quick analysis like they're RoboCop, and they go, what's the best way to make money and just get approval and keep this and keep the cash cow going? Oh, parameters. Okay, I'll just stay within them.
Right.
Sometimes the parameters aren't spoken. I should clarify my earlier statement. Sometimes the parameters aren't given explicitly either. They're heavily implied. Right. And comics tend to just be like, what's the fastest way to get approval? Okay. That.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's exactly kind of like with the Anthony Anderson and Jimmy Kimmel thing last week at the Emmys, and say it louder. Anthony Anderson was like, say it louder, Jimmy. Black Lives Matter. Now, number one, nobody has been fucked like proper fucked by Jimmy Kimmel since probably 96. Let's be real. Let's be real. If he has ever been able to properly fuck a bitch, he hasn't fucked her since 1996. That's number one. Number two, obviously he's a cuck. Like you can say that's a stupid, judgmental. Oh, say it's a pejorative in the same way we use snowflakes 5 years ago. How like, you make fun of the boomers for saying.
I prefer alt-right dog whistle myself.
Absolutely.
Tweet.
But the other thing is Anthony Anderson, perfect example. Nobody gives a sweet hot shit about Anthony Anderson. Nobody. Watch the fucking ratings for Blackish. It's been steadily declining for years and years, and ABC or whoever the fuck it's on is not going to cancel it because black good, black good, black good. And the writer was black good, and he had a fucking blackety black degree, and so he's going to blacken. Oh, white people, you better not cancel it because black. Nobody gives a fuck about Blackish. Not even black people. Right. Nobody gives a fuck about Daily Show with Trevor Noah except for the white Jews in the Upper West Side. No, or in fucking Los Angeles. No black people give a sweet hot shit about Anthony Anderson or fucking Trevor Noah. But nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? So white people, I think let's maybe close the episode by just saying you're the problem. I say it all the time, and not white people, but just white liberals. And
I am responsible, Peter. I am responsible.
You fucking maple syrup ass motherfucker.
Look at that. That's the cause of it. See that? Look at the sheet. Look out. Look, I need to adjust the white balance because I'm so white.
It is. Right. And you're wearing a white t-shirt. It's like you remember that chamber at the end of Neverending Story with like the bald lady. It's you're going to die or whatever the fuck she was at. That's what you look like. Just a blinding. Anyway, where can people find you?
Mark Hughes comic on all of them. Or comedian, some variation. You'll find me. There's not too many of us.
Now, do you have any? You had a great success with the Vancouver show last night. Do you have any coming up? I know you don't want to say where, but
Not yet. Got to give it a bit. Got to see what happens with COVID too. They might shut the ability to do it down again. So got to see. Yeah.
All right.
But I will always announce it if it's coming. It's always if it's coming, I'll announce it. But keep in mind, if anyone's from Vancouver or is watching or Canada, I cannot release the venue location because maniacs threaten small businesses. Often
white effeminate people.
White effeminate people threatening immigrant-owned businesses, almost always. But Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. BIPOC. We're here for BIPOC. We're here to help the BIPOC.
Also, everybody, besides just subscribing and things like that, make sure you go watch the Mike Harlow and I are going to do a live post-debate show on Mike Harlow's what is that?
No, it's like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. Canadian. On his YouTube. So go to Mike Harlow's YouTube and watch if you're listening to this after Tuesday's debate. It's going to be a fucking great time. And he's going to cook some food too. I don't know what.
Biden's debating Trump? They're doing it?
Apparently.
They're doing it?
Apparently.
On Tuesday?
Mm.
What channel? Is it on TV or is it being streamed? Or it's probably being streamed, right? Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. It's probably just going to
It'll be easy to find. It'll be easy to find.
On any YouTube or whatever.
Whatever I'm doing, I'm watching that because I want to see that. I want to see Trump kick his ass.
Dude, it's going to be so weird. Here's the thing too about that. We're not changing anybody's mind. We're not changing anybody's mind. Most of the people.
In fact, the way the media is going to report on it the next day will be the biggest bunch of lies you ever heard of in your entire life. Is how they're going to, even though everyone watched it. The way they're going to report on is going to be so duplicitous.
Right. All because of white people to bring it back, to bring it white people and black bitches with a black degree. Somebody, if you want to go, remember everybody, go do self-care, go fuck a black woman so that, we can all survive. And subscribe, share, leave a review, and find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano and Conservatish at TikTok. I mean, I might just shut it down. If they're going to be cunts, I'm just going to shut it down. Fucking chinks. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you, everybody.
Peter Feliciano. So you big.
And it was all yarrow.
All right,
brother. Thanks a lot.
Here's the broadcast ending.